I'm going to call the February meeting of the New York State Cemetery Board to order. Our first order of business is to ask our council to explain how we're going to operate today. Jill Faber, who is on the board, is in an emergency zone and is working from home. So, Rob, would you help us?
Certainly. So subdivision 3 of section 103-A of the Public Officers Law permits a public body to suspend the in-person meeting requirements when the governor or a locality has declared a state or local disaster emergency, and the public body determines that the circumstances necessitating the emergency declaration would affect or impair the ability of the public body to hold an in-person meeting. On February 12th, Westchester County issued a local disaster emergency declaration due to the impending snowstorm. The local disaster emergency declaration found that the storm posed an imminent danger to public transportation, utilities, and public health. One location noticed for this meeting is in White Plains, Westchester County, where Jill Faber would have attended. Of note, I think also is that DOS staff in Westchester and the surrounding counties were directed to work from home to the extent possible today. So in light of the local disaster emergency covering one noticed location for this meeting, the cemetery board may wish to determine by a vote that the snowstorm affects or impairs the ability of the board to have an in-person meeting and suspend the in-person meeting requirement under Public Officers Law, subdivision 3 of section 103-A.
Okay. So I'll make a motion.
Yep.
And do you have it, or do you want me to just make a motion to suspend the in-person meeting rules as a result of the declaration of emergency in Westchester County?
That works.
And because we are always better served having all three board members, particularly Jill, available to converse and vote. So we would be impaired otherwise. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
There's two votes.
I think Jill can also vote. I don't
Okay.
see any other way a public
I was
body.
wondering about that, but I'll take your guidance on that.
All right. Well, any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Aye. All three voted yes. So Jill will be participating. Now that we've done that, I'm just going to make sure everybody's introduced. I'm Mark Patterson. I represent Secretary of State Robert Rodriguez.
I'm Thomas Fuller. I represent Dr. James McDonald for the Department of Health.
And I'm Jill Faber. I represent Attorney General Letitia James.
Great. So we have a full.
Louis Pellicock, Director, Division of Cemeteries. Is the sound any better in here?
Yes.
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 Now I know why my daughter always complains about the Wi-Fi.
All right. So we have a full board and not a particularly full agenda, but let's start by reviewing the minutes of the previous meeting. Does anybody have any concerns, corrections, changes to the minutes as they were distributed?
None here.
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting as distributed to the board.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Next is our legislation and regulation report from our council.
Thank you, Mark. So I circulated a legislative report to the cemetery board prior to the meeting. The only thing I want to point out is the chapter amendment to S490. S8075 was signed into law on January 26th. Other than that, does anyone have any questions about the legislative report? Hearing none, regulatory report. The division and I continue to assess the public comments received on natural organic reduction.
Any board members have any questions of council on his report?
No.
No, not
Great. Okay, thank you, Robert.
Mhm.
Next is our division report. Louis from sunny Westchester County.
Yeah, sorry. I was looking to unmute. So I'm a little out of a bit of a disadvantage because I don't have all my stuff in front of me. But I wanted to actually, before I do whatever I was supposed to be talking about, I wanted to take a minute to spotlight both our outreach / training efforts and especially the role of retired investigator Cindy Craig. Um, it's funny, I haven't shared it with her. I found a memo she wrote in 1996 complaining that she was covering more than half the state and asking for her workload to be reduced. Meanwhile, she's been retired for 4 years, but not so as you'd notice, and she's been working harder than ever for us. She's been taking the lead in putting together, although I think it's a group effort, but she's been taking the lead in adding some new trainings. We all put together our Cemetery 101 program. We have 4 of those scheduled already for the spring. We're going to be adding 2 more dates. But Cindy and I should also spotlight Brendan Stanton have put together 2 programs. Cindy's got one for aimed specifically at cemetery volunteers, people who are not already in our world, to encourage um, encourage people to volunteer with their local volunteer-run cemeteries. And Brendan is taking the lead in updating our presentation for towns about how to help avoid cemetery abandonment, and if a cemetery is abandoned, what do they do to seek funds from us? We're also working on modules. Michael Seelman and Mike Katina are taking the lead on this one, but Brendan and Cindy are involved as well on training how to cemeteries and how to submit hazardous monument applications. And we also have Cindy is taking the lead on developing a presentation whereby we're going to walk people through the cremation authorization to highlight for crematories things that should concern them and things they should be looking for in reviewing those and determining whether to accept a case for cremation. So we're rolling out a lot more training. I think we're finding that staying ahead of problems by educating people seems to be a very good strategy, and we're going to be ramping that up, continuing to ramp that up through the year. The only other thing I wanted to mention before I turn it over to Alicia, I'm not sure if you have annual report stats yet, but the other thing that I wanted to mention is that we had, the board delegated to us, I want to say in 2019, a bunch of duties that we're taking a crack at. We've been doing a report on delegated duties that's a numeric report. You know, we did this number of reviews of rules, this number of, I don't know, columbariums, what have you. We're going to try to change. We didn't do that report last month. We didn't have time to put it together, and we've dispensed with it this month altogether. What we're aiming to do is by the second quarter, the first month of the second quarter of the calendar year, I guess the beginning of the fiscal year, we're aiming to report on and not only the delegated tasks we're performing, but more or less how long it takes for us to, on average, to perform those tasks, to give you an idea of our, give ourselves and you guys and the public an idea of our productivity. So I just wanted to mention that's something that we have in the works. Another reminder, we have annual report season coming up. Most cemeteries' annual reports are due March 31st, 30th actually. If you are a large cemetery that does a CPA report and they're going to ask an extension, we will continue liberally to grant those, but we are going to want you to, if possible, submit your division form annual report on time, and of course your vandalism and assessment payments and trustee updates to officers and directors are still due March 31st, even if we extend your time to file. Alicia, did I catch everything I was supposed to catch?
One more thing on tutorials. The
Oh,
annual
the
report
annual report.
tutorial. We
March
had a
7th.
second one. We had one last week. We had 75 people online. The feedback has been really, really great. People really appreciate it. And we have another one, second Thursday of March in the afternoon, starting at 4 p.m. I believe. Details are on our website. You can sign up there as well.
Yeah,
Great.
and we were planning on posting a recording of one of those. I don't know which one yet on our website for people who weren't able to, like me, who weren't able to catch it because we were doing other things.
Yep, so going on to annual reports, so far this year, calendar year, we've received 255 annual reports, of which 134 were posted online, which represents about 53% of the reports so far received, which is pretty good.
Also, I don't know if anybody who's watching this is a cemetery that still, I see one person who's watching this who's a cemetery that still has certificates. If you are one of the 15 or so cemeteries that still has certificates of indebtedness or land share certificates, please do me a favor and don't go on. If you want to do our annual report online, great, have at it. If, and we don't encourage this, you want to do this in paper, please hold off for a few days. The paper version of our annual report does not yet have part 6, the certificate schedules. Again, any cemetery that's got certificates should be sophisticated enough to do the online report. But if for some reason you're just dying to cut down some trees, give us a few days because we're updating the annual report form to add that to it. When we updated it, we developed the additional schedule for them, but we didn't put the cross reference to it in the original form, and we're fixing that right now.
Okay. Any other questions for Louis or Alicia on the division report? No. Okay, so we'll move on to vandalism report.
Yeah, the report was posted online. We're well on our way to exhaust the $2 million appropriation. We're cleaning up a bunch of old applications that have been kind of hanging out there that weren't getting completed due to the COVID slowdown, but now we're catching up on that.
Great. Anybody have any questions of Alicia for the vandalism report as mailed and supplemented? So we have 4 applications for vandalism funds before us. The first is from Fairview Cemetery in Albany, New York, in Albany County, in the amount of $45,946.06. Can someone present that to the board?
Yep, that's mine. Good morning, Glenn Breen from the division. We have an application from Fairview Cemetery, which is a small cemetery located near the village of Altamont in Albany County. Application was submitted by Russ Tallman, who's the president of the cemetery. The application included 2 estimates, one from Humphrey Memorials for $45,890 and one from Harold Smith for $51,650. It also included a legal notice that was ran for 3 weeks in the Altamont Enterprise. So Mr. Tallman said that they didn't receive any response from the ad, and the cemetery does not have any contact information from any lot owners either. And so based upon information, we determined that the lot owners cannot be found. The newest monument is dated from 1968. And I visited the cemetery and I found that all 34 monuments under application were either loosened or foundation or tipping, and they did appear to pose a hazard to the cemetery visitors and employees. Both did estimates proposed to pour new foundations, poured to a depth of 48 inches, and they both offer a 10-year warranty. So based on all the information provided, it appears that this application is complete, and I recommend approval in the amount of $45,946.56. That includes the estimate and the legal notice.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns about the application? There being none, I'll make a motion to approve the application of Fairview Cemetery in Albany County for dangerous monuments in the amount of $45,946.56.
Subject to the availability.
Subject to the availability of funds. Jeez, Louise, you gotta kick me. That's probably okay. Anyway, subject to the availability of funds. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Application is approved. The next application is Constable Cemetery in Franklin County, in the amount of $41,959.71.
This is Mike
Presenting it.
Seelman from
Go
the
ahead.
Division of Cemeteries. Constable Cemetery, it's a small cemetery in the town of Constable, Franklin County in northern New York. They submitted an application for repair of 60 monuments. I visited the cemetery and found 58 monuments that appeared hazardous. The discrepancy between the 58 and the 60 is after my visit, they added 2 monuments to the estimate. Unfortunately, I didn't see those monuments. I couldn't verify if they were hazardous, and they didn't include those monuments in the legal notice, so they didn't provide notice to the lot owners. So the Osborne, Webster, and George Cleveland monuments that are listed in the estimate have been removed. I notified the cemetery that they couldn't be included in this application, but they could apply later, provide proper notice. The most recent monument is dated 1932. The cemetery president stated that they do not have lot owner records dating that far back. So they did run a legal notice in the Malone Telegram for 3 weeks, and they did not receive any response. So it's the division's understanding that the cemetery has determined that the lot owners cannot be located. Included with this application was one estimate from Prairie Monument Company for $41,733 to reset the 58 monuments, providing 42-inch foundations and resealing everything, including a 10-year warranty. The average price of this bid is $721 per monument, which is lower than the average cost of the grants that we've seen. I asked the president if she had attempted to get other bids, and she said that she contacted 5 contractors altogether. 4 were monument dealers, and 1 was actually a mason, a cement contractor. And the only response that they received was from the Frary estimate that we're considering. The cemetery is up to date on their annual reports and vandalism payments, and I recommend approval in the amount of $41,959.71.
Any questions or comments about the application? I'll make a motion to approve the application of Constable Cemetery in Franklin County in the amount of $41,959.71, subject to the availability of funds. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 This application for Constable Cemetery is approved. Next is Fly Creek Cemetery in Otsego County in the amount of $29,802.82.
Yeah, good morning. This is Brendan Stanton with the division. We have an application from the Fly Creek Valley Cemetery Association, excuse me, of the town of Otsego in Otsego County, and that was for 26 monuments. This is their 5th application. It's a large historical cemetery right in the heart of the leather stacking region. So that's been active for a long time, and as a result, there's a lot of older monuments that have become dangerous. So this application was submitted by Mr. Dusenberry, the treasurer there at Fly Creek. Came with 2 estimates, one from Barnett Memorials, one from Humphrey Memorials. They did publish the legal notice as required. Additionally, a few of these monuments were newer, and including one that had a burial in 2018. So the Cemetery Association did have information to send out personal mailings to 5 lot owners. They received a couple responses, but no funds to repair these monuments. So based on the information that they provided to us, it's our understanding that the remaining lot owners cannot be contacted. Additionally, council had requested that we verify neither of the contractors in this application were responsible for those recent faulty foundations. The Cemetery Association does have a approved rules and regulations about how foundations should be poured. However, this one seemed to have slipped through. We did get a statement that the contractor has never done work in the cemetery previously of any kind. That's from Barnett Memorials, which is the estimate that I am recommending in favor of. So based on this application and having visited the cemetery in late December to verify the monuments remained hazardous, I recommend in favor of approval of this application in the amount of that lower estimate plus the cost of the legal notice, which totals $29,802.82.
I'm just going to interject because I know what Brendan meant, and I think we all know what Brendan meant, but just so the record is clear, Brendan said that we're recommending in favor of one of the estimates. We do not do that. Our recommendation is based on the amounts contained in that estimate. We only approve an amount, although we use the bids for the amount. Who the cemetery contracts with them, I suppose, unless they're contracting with the guy who poured those shoddy foundations, is their business.
Thank you, Willis. That's precisely what I meant.
No, I know. I know it. Like I said, I know what you meant, but the attorney for fiscal happens to also be our attorney, and I got to make sure we're not saying anything that might annoy him wearing his other
Every
hat.
single time. Just also in the world of making sure that we all know what Brendan meant, but also for the lawyer to talk more. Brendan, thank you for elaborating that the most recent monument that failed was dated 2018. And in discussions on this application, we had some concern that, wow, that failed really quickly, and making sure that, you know, any vendors that are bidding aren't bidding to fix their own work that failed quite quickly. It is the case here that, neither vendor was the one that put in the foundation in 2018 that already failed.
To be clear, it's extremely unusual under any circumstances for a foundation to fail that quickly.
Yeah, this, I mean, for a little added flavor, this particular foundation appeared to have been approximately 4 to 6 inches thick, made out of between 1 and 2 sacks of quickcrete concrete.
Well, any other questions? Any other advice from council?
No
Comments from council? So I'll make a motion to approve the application of Fly Creek Cemetery in Otsego County in the amount of $29,802.82, subject to the availability of funds. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Application is approved. Our last vandalism fund application is from Etna Cemetery in Tompkins County in the amount of $41,008.60.
This is Brendan Stanton again. We have an application from the Etna Cemetery Association located in the town of Dryden in Tompkins County. This is a cemetery that had been operating for some time after 1949. The division became aware of it. It became enrolled under our purview. And then at some point prior to me starting here in 2015, it had kind of become inactive again and was on the cusp of abandonment. But we were able to find a new interested board that's really doing a great job. So I didn't want to let the occasion escape without pointing that out. They have put together this application here. They did get 2 estimates to repair the 27 monuments. They published the legal notice as required. The most recent monument on this application was had a little bit of life on the one in the Fly Creek one. It was exactly 120 years older, from 1908. The Cemetery Association did not have any information regarding addresses for lot owners, so they published the legal advertisement, and it's our understanding that they've determined the lot owners cannot be contacted directly. Both of the estimates propose to replace the foundations with poured concrete to 42 inches and reset the monument and reseal it. DC Masonry, which is the lower estimate, offers a 15-year warranty. The other estimate did not provide warranty information. This looks to be a good application. The monuments did appear hazardous and remained in that condition when I was there in early December, and I recommend in favor of approval of this application in the amount of the lower estimate and the legal notice, which totals $41,008.60.
Thank you, Brendan. Any questions or comments from the board? And I'll make a motion to approve the application of Etna Cemetery in Tompkins County in the amount of $41,008.60 subject to availability of funds. Is there anything else the council has to add to this conversation?
No further
Sorry, I
comments.
keep forgetting. Okay, so all in favor? Did I make a motion? Do all that. Second, in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Application for Etna Cemetery is approved. We have a application for a PM loan from Cortland Rural Cemetery.
Steve Troutman will be presenting to the detailed review.
Okay.
Hi, this is Steve Troutman, Division Accountant out of Binghamton. Cortland Rural Cemetery in Cortland County is applying to borrow permanent maintenance funds for the purchase of 2 mowers and to pay off an outstanding commercial loan on their current mowers. Estimates that they obtained in September for the 2 mowers plus the outstanding loan balance as of February 2024, net of any discounts that they obtained and trade in on their lawnmowers, will total $45,681.37. They are proposing a repayment plan with 0% interest for 58 monthly payments at $775 and one final 59th payment at $731.37 to begin on July 1st, 2024. The cemetery currently has an outstanding permanent maintenance loan from 1998. The original amount was $267,091.78, with the repayment plan of 15% of lot sales going towards that. The cemetery has been making their permanent maintenance allocations and payments towards the loan. Reviewing the information that they submitted for 2019 through 2023 showed that there was an underpayment of the loan payments of $2,990.38. The cemetery has since made that difference up on February 2nd. In addition, they also have a parking lease agreement with Auxiliary Service Corporation, SUNY Cortland, that they entered into in 2006, of which $16,500 of the annual revenue is also to be placed in the permanent maintenance fund. The division has granted several requests to use those funds for operations, most recently approved in November of 2022. So they're already currently using those funds for operations. From our last division review of the permanent maintenance loan, the outstanding balance was $119,154 as of October 31st of 2019. We estimate that that is probably closer to $104,000 as of October 31st of 2023, although the information hasn't been reviewed since our last review in 2019. Permanent maintenance assets earn between 2 to 3% annually, and their current loan proposal is not expected to affect anything with their current outstanding permanent maintenance loan. The income and expenses that they submitted with their application shows fluctuating operating results, but overall small operating surplus. Their most recent annual report that was filed after their application showed a operating surplus of over $20,000. One thing to point out is that their supplies and repairs expenses have almost doubled in the most two recent years, and that their current commercial loan current payments are $510.10 monthly at 5.74% interest, and that would be maturing in June of 2025. So their proposed loan that they would have would be partially offset by the savings from the commercial loan payments that they're making, as well as expected decrease in repairs and maintenance cost on their current mowers. The cemetery trustees have continued to work on lowering their operating costs. They continue to solicit for donations. They were recently able to reduce their worker compensation insurance premium as well as investment fees, and they were able to obtain volunteers to perform tree trimming at the cemetery at no cost to the cemetery. The cemetery did look into obtaining commercial loans. They got quotes of 7.9 and 8.5% interest, which is far in excess of what the permanent maintenance funds would earn on those. They do not have sufficient operating funds to pay for the mower outright. As of October 31st, 2023, their general fund had $34,637. In addition, their special trust funds purposes can't be used to purchase the mowers. We also believe that it is more beneficial for the cemetery to perform the maintenance in-house and to purchase the mowers than it would be to contract out. So based off of the cemetery's financial operations, as well as kind of exhausting other options of additional funding, they're already using their lease agreement operations or lease agreement revenue for operations. We believe that getting the loan through private banks, commercial loan, would be more detrimental than to borrow from the permanent maintenance fund. Based off that information, I recommend that the board in turn recommend to the Supreme Court approval of the permanent maintenance loan and payback schedule.
We'll correct that, but Council, you comment?
Okay, so the cemetery has let us know that they intend to go to Supreme Court with a petition asking for the Supreme Court's permission for a loan from their permanent maintenance fund, as the division just relayed. They are asking, before doing so, for a board resolution giving the board's stance on such an application in the hopes that that will expedite everything. In accordance with the division's recommendation, I've drafted a proposed resolution, and I will read it out loud because everyone likes that part of these meetings. The New York State Cemetery Board has reviewed the materials, hereafter referred to as application, submitted by Cortland Rural Cemetery number 12-003, hereafter referred to as cemetery, to secure the board's recommendation on its proposed application to Supreme Court, Cortland County, to approve a loan from its permanent maintenance fund in an amount of $45,681.37. The board has reviewed the application pursuant to Nonprofit Corporation Law 1507A2 and resolves that the board finds that the cemetery's proposal to pay off outstanding commercial loans for existing lawnmowers and purchase 2 new lawnmowers in accordance with its application is for the current maintenance and preservation of the cemetery, and the board has no objection to Supreme Court Portland County's approval of a permanent maintenance loan in the amount of $45,681.37, interest-free, payable at $775 per month in 58 payments, with a 59th monthly payment of $731.37, commencing July 1st, 2024. Does anyone have any questions on the proposed resolution? Questions of council? Amendments to the proposed resolution?
No, so I make that motion. You should definitely be presenting before the Supreme Court. That kind of authoritative reading. Again, the board has no objection to this application, so is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, the application is reviewed and we have no objection to it going to the Supreme Court. I don't think there's anything else on our agenda. Our next board meeting is March 12th, 2024, in this room. Still on schedule for that so far. We also always welcome public comment on what we've done today or any other topics that might come before the board. Is there anyone online that would like to address the board?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name
State your name.
My name is Raphael Kalkstein.
Please state your name for the record.
Raphael Kalkstein.
We're having a difficult time understanding.
Okay, last name spelled K-A-R-I-K-S-T-E-I-N. I have a concern, and this is spoken 2 months ago, but I want to clarify more. I didn't get a response. I wrote in writing. Basically, this is for the charges that they charge to have a ledger put on a grave, which is very significant. It's like $3,700 or $3,800 for something which virtually has no extra cost than more than any other property, that any other grave that has, some graves have greenery on it, and they need more maintenance than something like this. So I feel that this charge of $3,700 or $3,800, whatever it is excessive. And if there's any way they could reduce it to make it more a fair charge than being so high, it's not likely that they'll ever need to be fixed. And if it has ever been a problem, I haven't really seen anything being fixed anyway. So I don't know if there's any way they could reduce this charge. That's what it's called, perpetual fee charge for ledger stone.
Okay, Mark, let me respond. I apologize, sir. I didn't catch much of that. I believe you were on a meeting 2 or 3 months ago. I thought that I had gotten back to you personally. Apparently I didn't. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to give you an email to send your contact number again, and I will call you today to answer your question. This is the general. I'll give you the general email for the Division of Cemeteries. I'll also give you my work cell. I would give you my email, but it's just too long. The general email for us is cemeteries, CEMERIES at D as in David, O as in Oscar, S as in Sam, .ny.gov, or you can call me directly on my cell phone, which is 347-525-7168. Now that that's out there, if anybody's listening to this meeting and you've got questions, feel free to call me directly. That's why I have a phone.
Cemetery, so CEMETARY at?
No, CEMETERIES.
Oh, cemeteries. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep, plural. Or just text or call me. The connection is horrible, so I can barely make out what you're saying. But I remember from last time. But I remember from last time what this is about. I'm able to answer it. You just got to call me offline.
Yeah, I'll call from my home phone. Cemeteries. What was the email? Cemeteries.what?
D as in David, O as in Oscar, S as in Sam. It's short for Department of State.
.ny.gov?
NY.gov, exactly.
Yeah, I got it now.
All right, we're sorry that the connection was not clear, and that we apparently didn't follow up the last time you raised this issue. So I hope that is resolved. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak before the board today?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
You're a little
I don't
faint.
know.
Little faint. Is this better?
Better, much better.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Russ Tallman from Fairview Cemetery. You approved our hazardous memorial application, and I just wanted to quickly thank you.
Well, thank you. I should have asked if you wanted to speak before. I didn't know you were on the line. We appreciate your appreciation.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Anyone else wishing to speak before the board? No other public comment offered? Then I'll make a motion to.
One question.
Yeah?
I could speak louder, perhaps. Regarding the issue I had with the register stamp, should I repeat again louder, or should I contact you?
Just call us offline. Call me offline.
Okay, no problem. When is the next meeting?
The next meeting is March 12th at 10:30. But
Okay, thank you.
All right, hopefully the issue is resolved, and again, the connection wasn't very good. Our apologies. I'll make a motion to close this meeting.
I'll second that.
Seconded? All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you.